Hey everybody, thanks for riding along with me today on the Stellar Highway. My name is Motormind and I will be your host. Today we're talking about Sideways. This is one of the DC New Age of Heroes books. And this was sold to me as Marvel, not Marvel, so I had to check it out. This guy specifically was compared to Spider-Man, and I'm a longtime Spider-Man fan, so I had to check this out. And it doesn't hurt that this book looks amazing. I love the art in it. I love the art style. I like the design of the main character. This does look a little scary, maybe a little insect-like, but hey, I like it. I like it. It's good. It works for me. And on the first page is actually probably my only complaint with this book. Sideways has teleported in here, and he's got this sort of scary text bubble that says, "Morning, Ernie." And so he's clearly like just appeared behind this girl out of this rift, and she's, in her bathroom. It's kind of creepy, kind of a bad decision, bro. So he gets smacked. It turns out that this is Derek. He's known as Sideways. And he's visiting Ernie. Ernie is the cosplayer supreme, I think he refers to her as. Basically, he's showing Ernie, basically her hard work. He's like, saying, I love the costume, I love the look, it's amazing. And, she's asking, what exactly can he do and stuff like that. And this is just kind of a cute way to explain his powers. She slugs him for sneaking into her bathroom. And then she remarks, hitting you's like hitting a wall. And then, she says, how strong are you? As strong as Superman? He's like, not really, but I do all right. He just yanks the dresser up. But he is teleported into this girl's room, and somebody knocks on the door, so he has to make a quick exit. Basically, it seems like Sideways is, he can kind of move through dimensions, move through these rifts, he calls them. Once he leaves Ernie and he goes home, and his mom appears to have some sort of high profile position with like some kind of organization, and she kind of dotes on him. It seems like he's adopted. Derek is adopted. This is his adopted father and mother. The dad doesn't seem very invested, but the mom is totally invested. She's really takes care of Derek. It kind of goes over their relationship, and he really does appreciate her. You can tell. It's kind of nice. It's kind of a nice, sweet setup. You can tell that there's a little bit of backstory here where, Derek's back at school. He's getting the cold shoulder from everybody. He's getting called a freak. And it turns out that during the events of the big DC Dark Knight Metal, I think is the name of the event. Derek was in Gotham, some kind of mountain, some kind of rift opened up, and Derek actually fell into this rift, and he was missing for like a week, and he was recovered, through his mom's persistence. He was recovered from the hospital. And then, he found out he had this fantastic ability to make rifts and that his body was altered and stuff like that. But yeah, we get to look at Derek's school life, and things are not so great there. Nice little shades of, Peter Parker. Basically his, I'm gonna skip a page or two here, but basically he's not rushing out to do heroic things. Basically Derek starts off kind of like with celebrity status in mind. He's like kind of like Facebook Live. He's like, live streaming his first outing as Sideways. So he's jumping through, he immediately jumps into a lake, kind of makes a fool of himself. As he begins to jump, he starts to hear this voice telling him to stop. And it turns out that he's attracted the attention, and I'll skip a page or two here. He's attracted the attention of this guy, and he is sort of like some kind of, I think he is, his name is something with several T's in it, but he appears to be a group of like the Monitors, part of this group. His he deems, Derek unworthy of the power and too reckless and too young, and, it's decided his sentence is death. So as you can see here, and I did skip a few pages, but it was established that, he just kept jumping through rift after rift to escape this voice. He couldn't figure out how someone could follow him. He ended up on the top of the building in this metropolitan area. And I really like the design of this guy. This says to me like old-timey Jack Kirby type, otherworldly. I mean, this does look like an alien to me. It's very cool stuff. So yeah, basically left Derek on the rooftop faced by this crazy being that can chase him through dimensions. Good stuff. I really enjoyed this. It's an easy recommend. And I went ahead and picked up issue 2 just as soon as I could, just to see how it's playing out. And this is an amazing cover. I really like the cover. Again, I've said I like the design of this guy. I like the clockwork stuff happening in his head. It just looks awesome. It looks insurmountable. It looks like he's in a real tight spot. So basically, let's see. Here we go. This guy's name is apparently Tempest Fugent. Tempest Fugent, I think. But basically he says, you're not worthy to have this power. I have to, remove you from the equation. You could cause too much damage. So Derek immediately tries to rift away, but he finds that his power doesn't work in the presence of this guy. So he does something pretty awesome. He throws himself off the building to try to gain enough distance to escape, and he does. But he basically face plants into the lake again. He's kind of says, he's all banged up, his shoulder's messed up. It was basically like hitting concrete. So, I mean, he made it, but just barely. And he doesn't know what else to do, so he goes to Ernie for help. And Ernie gets an Uber. I think they call them Carbers in the DC universe. And they go right to the hospital. And so Derek ends up in the hospital. His mom hears about it, of course. She comes to visit him. She's reminded of how he was laid up in Gotham, and she just got him back. And now she could lose him again. So there's kind of a nice scene there. Like I said, the son and daughter relationship part of this book is nice. It's well written. It seems like real human beings acting normal. So basically, Derek's trying to get out of there. He's, pleading with Ernie to hide his costume. And his shoulder's been dislocated. I think they said it, but he's kind of out of commission for now. But they hear a commotion in the lobby, and it turns out that there's this girl out there. She is also superhuman, and she calls herself Kill Speed. She's quickly kind of takes control of the hospital lobby, and nobody can stop her. And basically Derek does something cool, something heroic. Even though he's all laid up and it's got nothing but a hospital gown and his undies and his mask, he kind of entrusts Ernie to take care of his mom, and he decides to face off against this girl to save his mom. So yeah, good stuff. I really like this. I like that, in the last issue, there were no heroics, really. And this issue, he's kind of stepping up and for a teleporter, I feel like he could have just bolted out of there or something, but instead he's hiding his identity. He's trying to save innocence. Good stuff. I like it. I think Derek seems like a pretty interesting character yet. But he definitely hasn't committed to being a hero yet. And I think that all that's missing to complete the whole Spider-Man comparison is an Uncle Ben. So it kind of worries me. They're building up his mom so much. We'll see how that goes. But basically in issue 3, kind of busted up Derek faces off against Kill Speed. We get a little bit of Kill Speed's backstory. She was a cancer patient that was kind of infected by the Speed Force, which I guess is what the Flash taps into. But it's accelerating her cancer. So she's forced to like steal money for treatment, and she's kind of at the end of her rope. But yeah, Derek does some cool stuff with his power here. He kind of opened rifts to kind of get an eye on her, because she has super speed. He can't really keep an eye on her. So he opens a number of rifts just to kind of watch her, see which one she passes by. And he's able to use his rifts to, of course, there's a double page spread here, but uses rifts to like create solid objects. So, you know, she tries to hit him with a bus, and he's able to like kind of bust the bus in half. But yeah, it's really good. I like this fight. It has like a nice sense of motion. I mean, it's just really cool stuff. The art here is super great. But here she's creating like a vacuum around him, like sucking all the air away. But, you know, again, he's kind of using his powers kind of in new ways. You know, he shows that he's just more than like a teleporter. But yeah, he creates sort of a sideways rift to trip her. And this is probably my only complaint about the book is the cops show up, and he kind of does this sort of witty Peter Parker type thing, like, hey, I'm Sideways, and I got the bad guy for you, and all this stuff. And when they turn their guns on him, he nopes out real fast. You know, it's kind of not as heroic as his actions in the last couple of last issue, but, you know, I mean, hey, even Spidey was on the run from the cops. So just as he's about to escape, he is grabbed again by Killspeed, and he's able to sneak away with a rift behind his back. But when he wakes up, he discovers that he rifted her arm with him. So it's kind of shocking. And he's shocked as well, obviously. But yeah, kind of a surprise there. I mean, it's definitely a great way to show him that his power has like consequences and stuff like that. You know, he can't just go teleporting other people and stuff, just lickety split and stuff. I think this is, you might say this is a slow start, but you know, I think this is paced really well and paced really deliberately to kind of build up, you know, who Derek is and, you know, what his powers do, because they seem a little deeper than you would just at first glance. But there is a quick scene that I wanted to mention here. There we go. There's a quick scene here that I wanted to mention, but basically after Derek escapes from the Tempest Fugit guy, you can see that something has sort of like exited the rift, sort of a symbiote, like a venom symbiote, and it grabs this duck. So, you know, even ducks have symbiotes these days. What are you gonna do? So definitely setting up like a future conflict or something there to come back to. That's really the only aside that this book throws at you. If you've seen my review of the Terrifics, you know, I kind of criticized that book for throwing in like kind of this villain reveal that just like had no place in the story and kind of broke up the pacing, and even went so far to say is, hey, this doesn't matter right now. But this is how you do it. This is how you subtly sneak in, you know, a little, you know, nod to like a future villain or a little Easter egg to pick up. But yeah, I don't know this creative team. I don't know DC Comics very well. I've said that before, but I don't know this creative team, but they're dynamite. This is awesome. Everything about this, the way it looks, the way it reads, the characterization, you know, his supporting cast, all of it is like A+ to me. So Sideways gets like a huge recommendation from me. If you're a lifelong Marvel guy like I am, you know, you're going to like this. This is good stuff. It's just a good book is a good book. It doesn't matter if it's DC or Marvel or Image in the top left corner. This is good stuff. I really like it. And Sideways gets a huge recommend from me. Do check it out. Have you read Sideways? Let me know below if you've read all 3 issues, if you're enjoying it. I think there's a new Sideways on the way next week, and I'll definitely be picking that up and reviewing it as soon as possible, because I'm into this. I like where this is going. And I'd like to see, you know, the consequences. I'm getting like emotionally ready for that Uncle Ben moment that Derek needs to have. And yeah, I think this has a lot of potential, and I'd like to see Sideways interact with other DC superheroes. And I think Damage got a Suicide Squad team up fight pretty quick into his run. And I want to say there's Silencer had another famous villain appear in her book. So I think a team up is imminent here. Now that we've got the setup, I'm it wouldn't surprise me if issue 4 had Nightwing or something, in it. So we'll see. I'm anxious to see who shows up next, where Sideways goes. Let me know if you're into this. Let me know if you're along for the ride. And thank you for riding along with me on the Stellar Highway.